Hello, I'm John Rossi, a touring drummer with the love of all things animal. When I'm on the road, I visit as many zoos, aquariums... Hey, wait a minute. What's going on? Hey, what's going on there? Hello? 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 We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you Rossifari Zoo news. News you can use from the world of zoos and conservation. Every week, we bring you breaking news and analysis from around the globe, featuring the animals you love and the people who care for them. And here's your anchorman, John Rossi.
Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to Rossifari Zoo News, your look at everything going on in the world of zoos, aquariums, conservation, and general animal weirdness. Y'all, my contract for $1 Million Quartet at Walnut Street Theater has been continuing on, and it has been a good time. We've had a lot of sickness in the cast lately, actually, and so we've had a couple of understudies going on, and they've been doing a really nice job, and it always keeps things fresh to have some new faces in. And actually, kind of the funny story about that is that I've talked about this online a little bit, but I have been at understudy rehearsal, and there is this great actor and musician who is also just one of the best names you will hear in the industry, which is Giacomo Fasano. And Giacomo is covering both Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis as an understudy. And that has meant that in understudy rehearsals, as we've been running through stuff, I've been filling in as both Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis myself. Now, I am a drummer. I do not play much in the way of piano or guitar, but I know some basic chords and some basic parts and enough to solo where it is absolutely necessary. It doesn't always sound good, but it works for, showing the understudies where those things are going to be and making sure that they get somewhat of an experience of what they would, experience if they were on stage with us. So, yeah, I've been playing a lot of guitar, a lot of piano, as well as drumming the show, and it's been a lot of fun. And, of course, being in Philadelphia, I have been making regular visits to the Elmwood Park Zoo and Philadelphia Zoo. Went on up to Zoo America. You're going to hear an episode from them soon. And even went back to the National Aquarium, where they have sea turtles again, and they haven't for a long time. So it's been really special to see sea turtles at the National Aquarium, especially in Blacktip Reef, which is the habitat that Calypso lived in. Calypso was a sea turtle with a flipper missing, who was honestly probably the first individual animal I ever fell in love with, and is a big reason why I love sea turtles, and was just a beloved feature at the National Aquarium until she passed away. And I remember when I was younger seeing Calypso and being so moved, and by hearing her story and understanding about rescue and all that stuff. It's been a while since they've had a sea turtle at the aquarium, and now that they do again, it's so cool to be able to look at that space and to see a turtle. It makes me really, really happy. And we have some other really cool updates. We have finished our fundraising for the Shots for Spots program through the Katie Adamson Conservation Fund, which is heading to Nepal with our friend Mike McClure to take care of dogs and such. And I am super proud of the Rossifari community. We raised $1,151.80 towards helping these dogs out, and thus helping red pandas and leopards and all the things. That's just under 40 dogs that we have gotten medical help for, and I am so excited about that. And honestly, some of the dogs only need the basic vaccine, and in that case, we're actually helping more of them. It's $30 if they need all the stuff. So lots of feral dogs that will no longer be able to hurt red pandas, leopards, and other incredible animals because of our community. And I'm so excited about that. And I am currently collecting addresses and color requests for your follow bracelets if you donated to this cause. There might be a slight delay as so many people want the black ones right now. And so I have follow sending me some additional bracelets to make up that difference. That'll be here in just a few days. But I'm also including some stickers that I think you'll like. So if you donated to this cause, you'll be getting a nice little goodie bag from me, and I think you're going to appreciate it for more than just the bracelets. But speaking of follow, those lovely, lovely bracelets, I am pleased to announce that my partnership with the brand has become more formalized. I am now an official follow ambassador. I'll be uploading my link to my social profile soon, so if you decide that you want to buy a follow bracelet, you should do it through my link. And I'll share more about exactly what this partnership means with y'all soon, but in the interim, I just want to say that I'm super excited to be teaming up with a brand I really love and that has a mission that I believe in. I get a lot of requests with my social following and everything to be an ambassador for brands now, but they're not things I care about or want to stick my name on. Follow, on the other hand, is an incredible company. I love that they give money to conservation and work directly with conservation organizations. I like that they are connected to the AZA SAFE program in general. And so I'm really proud of this ambassadorship. And I hope you'll follow along on my journey. Get it? Get it? Yeah. Oh, also the Rossifari Instagram has passed 70,000 followers, which is just bonkers. So thanks for being here and thanks for being there, y'all. I really appreciate all of you. And of course, real quick, don't forget, if you're not yet, make sure that you're following along at Rossifari on the socials, Rossifari Pod on TikTok, all the things. And, if you see anything that you think is Zoo newsworthy, go ahead and tag me in it on the socials or email it to rossifaripod@gmail.com, and I'll say your name at the end of the episode. So with all of that said, it is time to get to... All right, so no big headline story this week, which frankly is often good news. But let's get to our birth. The Lincoln Children's Zoo is celebrating the birth of a Matschie's tree kangaroo joey. This is one of only 3 born at AZA facilities in the U.S. this year, which obviously includes our friend Wren at Roger Williams Park Zoo. The little one was born to mom Judy and dad Bexley, also known as Bex, and I have to tell you that Bex is one of the most charismatic tree kangaroos I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. And so I can't wait to see what this little one is like. But currently the joey is doing well and is starting to poke out of the pouch, which I'm really excited about because I'm going to be visiting Lincoln in just a few weeks, and I'm really hopeful to see this little joey and kind of can't wait. This is going to be amazing, y'all. Tree kangaroo joeys make me so happy. Also, something that makes me happy is that one of the times when I was writing this up, I typed tree-roo. Actually, I typed tree roos. I said one of the most charismatic tree roos. And the program I was using decided to fill in and wrote tree roosters. And I just laughed really hard at that. But they are, in fact, tree kangaroos, not tree roosters. A baby okapi has been born at the Sacramento Zoo. The little one is a male who was born to mom Kavuli and is the first okaplet born at the Sacramento Zoo ever. The pair is off exhibit during a bonding period that is taking place behind the scenes, but keepers and vet staff will be able to closely observe the two while staying as hands-off as possible. 2 Komodo dragons named Vanda and Norbert have hatched at Zoo Tampa. The 2 hatched after a 9-month incubation period, which is something humans know about, but is considered really long by most reptile standards. Each of the dragons is roughly the size of a stick of butter right now, but will obviously grow into the huge predators we know and love. And if you're anything like me, you're now picturing a full-grown Komodo dragon-sized stick of butter. Ooh, or like a butter sculpture of a Komodo dragon. That would be cool. Anyway, the Dallas Zoo has announced the birth of a baby giraffe to mom Katie and dad Tobogo. Mom and calf are both doing well, with the little one standing within his first hour, nursing shortly thereafter, and then doing some zoomies around the barn by the end of the first day. And it always amazes me. Like, giraffe babies are really something with how quickly they get moving. It is amazing and adorable to see. Our friends at ABQ BioPark in Albuquerque have welcomed the birth of a hippo calf to parents Karen and Mo. The baby was actually born on exhibit, and there is video of the birth that the park shared with the public. So, unless you are grossed out by live birth or bothered by a little bit of blood, I highly recommend you go to @ABQ BioPark and check out that video, because it's not every day you get to watch a hippo be born. And then last but not least, ZooAtlanta has welcomed a baby Hoffman's two-toed sloth to the family, born to Coco and Nutella. Interestingly, the zoo didn't know this birth was coming, as sloth pregnancies are hard to detect. Mama and baby are resting up together in a behind-the-scenes area and are doing quite well. Here's a fun, slightly disturbing fact, especially for those of you who have given birth. Baby sloths are born with their long hair and long claws fully formed. Yikes. And that brings us to our deaths for the week. Smithsonian's National Zoo has said goodbye to Layla, an Allen's swamp monkey. She was 19 years old, putting her above the average life expectancy for the species. Layla experienced an abdominal hemorrhage, which led to the decision to euthanize her. She was known for being sweet but also finicky, and was particularly loved for her work with her grandson Edgar. When Edgar was born, his mother wasn't showing proper maternal instincts, and Layla stepped in to try to raise him. Because of circumstances beyond Layla's control, the team ended up having to hand-rear him for a bit, but when he was reintroduced to the family, it was Layla who again stepped up and was patient with him, became his primary caretaker, and eventually became a role model and playmate for him. This energy is sorely missed at the Smithsonian. Okay, so y'all remember the interview from Sedgwick County Zoo recently where we talked about the heritage breed animals, right? Sadly, one of those animals has passed away. Faith, a 21-year-old milking Devon cow, has passed away after a decline in her body condition and well-being. 21 years old is a remarkable age for her breed, and it's just sad to see her gone, even though she lived such a great long life. She was known for her gentle personality, and I find this fascinating, but she had a huge love of bananas. Never really thought about a cow eating bananas before, but there you go. And then last but not least, the Perth Zoo has said goodbye to 24-year-old Kigana, a spotted hyena. As he aged, he started to suffer from heart issues and fainting spells, and the heart issues eventually led to his passing away. He was a fan of salmon and cream cheese, though apparently not on a bagel like most humans take it. He was also a huge fan of making sure that when his keepers were around, all of their attention was focused on him. All of it. Very important. Intelligent and full of personality, the zoo won't be the same without him. And then moving on from births and deaths, we get to the rest of our zoo news section for the week. Our friends at Oglebay's Good Zoo have broken ground on a new habitat, and it sounds like it's going to be an amazing one. The Gary E. West Pride Lands will be a lion habitat with over 20,000 square feet of room. This will be the largest lion habitat in the eastern United States and is going to feature immersive overnight stays for guests where you can actually sleep in with the lions. No, wait, I read that wrong. Okay, but you will be able to stay next to the lions, creating an unforgettable connection that will hopefully foster conservation actions. Now, we love it when a zoo steps up, and the Guadalajara Zoo has done just that. Over 2,000 turtles were saved from the illegal pet trade in one criminal investigation, and the Guadalajara Zoo has stepped up to provide care for all of them. 7 species are represented in this population, including 6 species of mud turtles and 1 species of box turtle. One of the species is the Vallarta mud turtle, which is critically endangered with less than 400 remaining in the wild. The Guadalajara Zoo is one of the partner institutions of the Turtle Survival Alliance, which is assisting the zoo with the care of these creatures. The hope is that all of the turtles will be medically cleared to join protected assurance colonies that are administered by the Turtle Survival Alliance in the hopes of them or their offspring eventually being repatriated to the wild once those areas are considered safe to do so. The Brookfield Zoo in Chicago is currently working on creating a blood bank for animals in human care, regardless of the size or species. Multiple tools have been invented recently that help with the collection of blood and the storing of blood from a variety of species. And storing this blood will not only mean that it's available for an emergency, but will also help us learn more about the animals in question and how their blood works and all that good stuff. So, important stuff for the health and the understanding of animals. Our friends at the Akron Zoo have announced that Tamar, one of the males and the leader of one of the 2 lion prides at the zoo, is suffering from chronic kidney disease. As such, he and his bonded partner, Mandisa, will be living behind the scenes in a retirement area until his time is up. The zoo will be monitoring his quality of life and making sure he gets the best care possible, and I just love that they have announced this now and are letting people in on the decision. They know that the lion is still there and being taken care of, but they won't see him anymore. And actually, we have a similar story at the Topeka Zoo. Asante, a 21-year-old lioness at the Topeka Zoo, is going to be off exhibit for an indeterminate amount of time after a health scare related to her kidney disease. Tatu, her male partner, will be off exhibit with her during this time. The median life expectancy of a lioness in human care is 16 years, and at the age of 21, Asante is the oldest lioness in the AZA, so hopefully she's able to get over what's going on and get back out on habitat. But either way, it is so cool to know that the Topeka Zoo has given such an amazing life to Asante, 21 years old. Absolutely incredible stuff. The Phoenix Zoo took a lot of storm damage this week and had to close on October 14th and 15th for repairs. Amazingly, no animals, guests, or staff were harmed, but it did take a few days to get the zoo back in shape after some crazy storms. I'm grateful that they were able to get through the whole AAZK conference before that happened, and I will tell you from what I have heard from many people, they were apparently an amazing host. So I love that. The San Diego Zoo was in the news this week because Denny, a 10-year-old gorilla, broke one of the 3 layers of glass in the Lost Forest habitat. Denny took a running start, charged at the glass, and smacked it with his forearm, breaking one of the layers of glass. Denny then stared at some of the people observing the animals before walking off. One guest in particular felt that Denny was staring right at them and wondered if she had somehow upset Denny. The glass has been covered and the exhibit closed while the zoo figures out exactly what happened and what their next steps are. Of course, just to be super clear, there will be no punishment for the gorilla or anything like that. Now, we've been periodically touching on the topic of the Sequest chain of aquariums that has been shut down. And quick reminder, that is not related to Sea Life aquariums, which are AZA accredited and wonderful. But we do have some good news about the Sequest story this week. Multiple facilities have announced that they have rescued the animals from various Sequest aquariums where they were mistreated. The Lake Superior Zoo and Turtleback Zoo have both posted stories about animals they rescued from these facilities, showing their amazing new lives at their accredited homes. I love how resilient animals can be, and I really love that so many of these animals have better lives now, which is a happy ending to a sad tale. And then two more stories here. First of all, the Smithsonian's National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute is still closed due to the government shutdown. Meanwhile, keepers and other staff are working day in and day out without getting any of their pay until the shutdown ends, giving their all for their animals while the government makes them suffer financially. So I am sending love to everyone affected by the shutdown. I am so sorry that you have to go through this, and I want to make it super clear. I don't blame the National Zoo. This is all above them. It is a fantastic facility. Y'all know how much I love the Smithsonian and how much I have featured them and will continue to feature them and love them. But yeah, seeing the federal government do this to so many people who I love so much is driving me crazy. But we're not going to end the Zoo News segment on a bad note. So if you haven't seen it yet, there is an adorable video from ZooParc Overloon, which is at ZooParc, P-A-R-C, that you have to check out. One of their baby red pandas can be seen wandering the habitat for the first time when it comes up to some otters that I guess coexist in the habitat. And the panda is very interested in them, and they seem very interested in the panda. And the little baby gets pretty close before running off, kind of reminding me of my Chihuahua Buzz, who loves to get up close to bigger dogs or humans before then getting scared and barking or backing away for absolutely no reason. So I don't know if this will turn into an otter-panda friendship or not, but it's really adorable to see whatever it ends up being. Go check it out. And that brings us to
Stereotypical Animal Podcast theme song. Here to bring it to conservation news.
The International Union for the Conservation of Nature Conference took place this week, and we're going to start off with just a couple of news stories from there. First of all, the IUCN has announced the creation of a microbial conservation specialist group, a task force of scientists, conservationists, and volunteers whose mission is to safeguard our planet's microbial biodiversity. The group states that microbes are so essential to maintaining life on Earth that trying to protect individual species or habitats without considering the microbes they rely on is a futile effort. This specialist group will have a lot of things to consider. Microorganisms include bacteria, fungi, viruses, and more, with scientists estimating that anywhere between 1 trillion and 100 trillion microbial species exist. And part of the process is just going to be figuring out what we need, which of those microbial species actually matter to life. Like, for instance, microbes live on our skin and in our guts, and we literally wouldn't be able to live without them. But microbes also include the virus that causes COVID or the fungus that causes athlete's foot, which we could certainly do without. No need to conserve them, at least from what we know right now. A super interesting fact here is that while most of us think of trees and other plants as creating the oxygen we breathe, more oxygen is produced by algae and cyanobacteria than all of the plants on land combined. And that's not to say that the plants don't matter as well, of course, but when you think about all the discussion about saving trees and other plants for our oxygen supply, and then realize that's less than half the oxygen being created, it's a really unique way of looking at conservation and what we need to do to save the planet for ourselves and other species. Interestingly, when you look at what is causing certain microbes to disappear or decline in population, you see a lot of the same issues facing the plants and animals we can see with the naked eye. Industrialization, habitat loss, and all those fun things you hear about on here every week when we discuss what is affecting red pandas or lions or whatever. I'm really curious to see what this specialist group is able to accomplish, and honestly, how seriously the rest of the conservation world decides to treat them. But I think it's very cool that this group exists, and honestly very important. great news about a species that I love. Green sea turtles have been downlisted from endangered all the way to least concern in the latest red list of endangered species unveiled at the IUCN. That is an amazing feat. Usually we celebrate an animal going from like endangered to vulnerable. But conservation efforts for green sea turtles have proven to be so effective, they are now least concern, which is just fantastic. I'm so excited. Green sea turtle populations do remain well below historic numbers, so conservation work is still essential. And honestly, so much of the work being done to save sea turtles is not species dependent, but instead is, whatever sea turtles we see, we take care of kind of thing. And many of the species are in the same areas and get the same treatment at the same time. So definitely important to keep taking care of the sea turtles. But this is a huge, huge victory for a species that I absolutely adore. So, okay, Mr. Beast is a thing that I think I'm probably too old to understand, and I'm guessing most of you are as well. But apparently he's a guy that does stuff on YouTube, and apparently a lot of it is good stuff, giving money to people and charity work and stuff. I don't know. I was not going down a Mr. Beast, deep dive and making my whole algorithm whatever he is. But what I do know is that he started a thing called the Team Seas campaign with the goal of removing 30 million pounds of waste from oceans, rivers, and beaches. And now Mr. Beast has announced that the project actually shot past its goal, removing 34 million pounds of trash. That's obviously a huge win for the ocean and is honestly probably the best thing to come from YouTube since the I like turtles kid, who I frequently get compared to, and that shouldn't surprise you, as you've literally heard me get excited about two different things talking about sea turtles just in this episode alone. But anyway, moving on from that. The Center for Birds of Prey shared a cool story this week. There's a pair of wild black vultures that return to the same spot on their grounds every year to build their nest, lay eggs, and then nurse their young. This year, an orphaned black vulture chick was brought to the center's clinic around the same time that was all taking place, so the center placed the little orphan in the nest and the parents accepted it as their own. It was raised along with the two natural-born chicks of the parents, and all three little ones did quite well. I just think that's such a cool idea, and it was so perfectly executed by the Center for Birds of Prey. Nice work, y'all. Some great news for northern hairy-nosed wombats in Queensland, Australia. The population is on the rise in a major way. Back in 1982, the population was estimated to be 40 individuals in the wild. However, conservationists have worked hard to raise those numbers, and now there are over 400 in the wild, with multiple wombats being released into protected forests where they have established burrows and self-sustaining population. Now, the charismatic nature of these animals definitely made their protection easier than some other species, like, microbes. But still, anytime you can grow a population tenfold is a huge victory for conservation. And it seems like Australian people really care about a lot of their native species, especially wombats. It's one of the big ones. So excited about that and hopeful to see that continue. And then last but not least, for conservation news this week, sometimes speaking up really does work. Public opposition to whaling has been growing year by year in Iceland, leading to increasingly strict laws, and the public pressure plus these laws have led the largest whaling company in Iceland to cancel its annual whale hunt, meaning that no fin whales will be killed in Iceland this year. This is a huge shift, as Iceland has a deep history of whaling and has often fought to hold on to the practice despite international pressure to stop it. So the fact that something that is not only an industry, but honestly a bit of a cultural heritage, being seen as a problem and the people there understanding the issue with it and helping to take steps to stop it. That's incredible. That's the kind of story that when people are like, well, what can I do? You can do that. Speak up, spread the word, and change the world.
Oh, animal holidays. Animal holidays. Hey! All right, so we didn't actually have anything in the other news category this week, so we move on to our animal holidays for the week. And it is October, which is Croctober, Tamara Month, Lost Species Month, Bat Appreciation Month, Squirrel Awareness Month, and Adopt a Shelter Dog Month. Then for our individual days and weeks, the 17th is International Sawfish Day and Hickory Turtle Day. The 18th is World Okapi Day and International Sloth Day. Wow, good timings on those births that just happened this week. That's really impressive. The 19th starts World Lemur Week and National Wolf Awareness Week. The 21st is Reptile and Amphibian Awareness Day and the Marine Mammal Protection Act anniversary, which, given that the current administration in the United States has called for that to be sundowned, well, let's just hope that we keep getting to celebrate that anniversary. But hey, for now, it's a good time to remind people that it exists and raise awareness about it. And then the 22nd is Wombat Day. Again, we were just talking about wombats. That's pretty cool. And National Make a Dog's Day. Like Make a Dog's Day, but I guess they didn't want to say it twice. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, look, if you're a dog person, if you love dogs, if you have dogs, you know that every day is Make a Dog's Day. Day. Alrighty, so there you have it, folks. Another week of Rossifari Zoo news. I want to take a moment to remind y'all that you can go to patreon.com/Rossifari to support the pod for as little as $3 a month. And of course, to say thank you to all of my patrons, especially my Red Panda level patrons, Dr. Laura Schenk, Dr. Stephen Williamson, Barbara Bennett, Jenny Owens, Melissa Reed, Carrie Kirkpatrick, John Lewis, who is also here for stickers, Kevin Williams, and Cormac McMuffin. Meow. And by the way, your patron stickers, for those of you who are at that level this month, are going to be very exciting and Halloween themed. And that's all I can say because I haven't seen the artwork yet because it's still being created. But I'm really excited about it. And then I'd also like to thank everyone who contributed to this week's episode. Anya Keene, Colleen Linehan, Kim Cooley-Croninger, Carrie Kirkpatrick, Kevin Williams, Emily Rockbuck, Dr. Natalie Taco, Dr. Laura Schenk, Barbara Bennett, Crystal Chapman, Kristen Khalil, Anna McEachran, Jacob Zinn, Marianne Rossi, Ann Yoshioka, Mark Hansen, Ali Malensky, Kay Malensky, The Malenskys, Madeline Weaver, Dr. Zoe Rossi, Miles Rossi, Maddie Pats, Jay Meredith, Becca Robinson, and Sarah Gilsel. Thank you all so much for contributing to this week's episode. We'll be back here on Tuesday with a brand new interview episode, and then back on Friday for another Zoo News episode. But until then, remember, friends, the words newsy credits backwards are Steiderk Yiswen. The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo. Okay, so no outtake this week since I only screwed up once and I dropped like 5 F-bombs when I did for some reason, so that's not gonna fly. So I will tell you something that I find very funny that is a mistake that I make frequently. So
I often record these things very, very late at night, early morning, whatever you want to say. And as I'm going through the name list, well, I'll just tell you what I do. I often do this. So I'm reading the name list and I will go blah, blah, blah. And then I'll say Marianne Rossi, Ann Yoshioka, Mark Hansen, Malensky Jingle, Madeline Weaver, and then realize that I said Malensky Jingle instead of actually sticking in the audio of the Malensky Jingle. So now you know.